We're back to talk about the real vast right-wing conspiracy in America today. This year, we've seen a sudden wave of radical Republican bills that are suspiciously similar. For example, voter ID bills have been introduced in 34 states, and anti-union bills have been proposed in 29 states. This is not just coincidence. These bills are the work of a very secretive and very powerful group called the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC for short. They help corporate executives literally write model bills for your state legislators. The proof is in black and white. Here's a model voter ID bill that ALEC wrote in 2009. Quote, any person desiring to vote in this state shall present proof of identity to election officials when appearing to vote. And here's an Arkansas voter ID bill from this year. Quote, any person desiring to vote in this state shall present proof of, wait a minute, that's the same bill. The wording is identical. Last year alone, 826 ALEC model bills were introduced in the states, covering everything from big oil to big tobacco. 115 of them became law. Right now, ALEC is holding its annual conference in New Orleans, where corporate suits are busy writing next year's laws, doing the work you elected your state lawmakers to do. Joining me now is Lisa Graves, Executive Director of the Center for Media and Democracy, a watchdog group that originally broke this story. Lisa, this is so incredibly blatant, it's hard to believe.
It's shocking, Reverend. You know, when we saw the bills that are on our site, alecexposed.org, we couldn't believe our eyes. They reflect a depth and breadth and duration of agenda by these corporations to rewrite our laws that's startling. And the fact is that just down the street from us right now, this afternoon, corporations have been voting behind closed doors along with politicians on these model bills to change our rights. It's unbelievable this is happening in America.
Now, when you say that corporations are voting with elected officials, you mean that they're actually sitting in sessions where the corporate executives are writing laws that will later be voted on after some of these elected officials propose them in legislative bodies?
Well, in many instances, these corporations bring their wish lists to the task forces of ALEC, and then they vote alongside elected representatives in favor of those bills. Those bills are then introduced in state houses across the country, cleansed of any reference to the fact that they came from ALEC, and certainly cleansed of any reference to the fact that a corporation pre-voted, pre-approved those bills through ALEC's task force process.
Now, what bothered me about your story and some of your revelations is clearly a lot of these laws are dealing with voter ID, something that I've worked on all my life, voter rights. And the founder of ALEC, a conservative activist named Paul Weyrich, said some of the most outrageous things about voting I've ever heard back in 1980. Take a look at this.
I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
Now, how can someone that has such a blatant disregard for voting, openly saying that, and openly saying it's better for when we have less people voting, why would major corporations be supporting this organization?
Well, it's actually amazing because Paul Weyrich founded this organization back in 1973, and there was a surge in voter registration bills that came out of the 1993 Clinton initiative to expand voter registration. Those bills were considered to be racist largely because they were in response to the fact that many African Americans as a percentage were registering to vote in the early 1990s.
Right.
Those bills were discarded, but then all of a sudden after the 2008 election, after so many African Americans voted, after so many college students voted, and President Obama won, ALEC's board, its corporate task forces, along with its politician board, voted to approve voter registration bills that, as you point out, have been speeding through state houses across the country, similar or exactly the same provisions. Why these corporations? Why Kraft Foods? Why corporations like Coca-Cola want to go along with this? Why they didn't walk when voter ID bills were being pushed through ALEC? I have no idea, but they should be held accountable.
So you're having these corporations, some of which you named here, and some you haven't, but these are major corporations that enjoy the consumer dollar of people that they are really helping to finance groups to put in state law to undermine their voting.
Now, they say that these corporations said that they didn't vote in favor of that particular bill. But in the case of Kraft, in the case of Coca-Cola and other companies, they sit on the board of ALEC, they bankroll ALEC, and they have been there while these bills have come through the task forces sponsored by other corporations or supported by other corporations, and they have not walked away from this organization while it has pushed its radical agenda.
Lisa Graves, thanks so much for your time.